Welcome to the Warframe Weapon Encyclopedia, where today we're checking out the Guandao. You can get the blueprint for the Guandao from the Tenno lab in your dojo, and the weapon is actually surprisingly cheap. It's only 15,000 credits, 3 gallium, 65 oxium, 750 polymer bundles, and 2,500 ferrite. The Guandao is a mastery rank 4 polearm that does primarily slash damage, with still a decent amount of impact and then just a little bit of puncture on the side. It is somewhat slow with a base attack speed of 0.833, but as it is a polearm, it has great range. It also comes with great crit of 28% with a 2.2 times crit multi, however the status chance is very low at only 4%. Now since you can get the Guandao very early on, let's check out the basic build first, which is going to be something like this, just squeeze in as much damage as you can and then a little bit of crit and attack speed. This kind of a setup is going to allow you to very smoothly cruise through the entire early game and most of the mid game as well. It simply does good damage and it feels great to use. But eventually, as you fight higher and higher level enemies and maybe you want to start doing some endgamey stuff as well, I would recommend to upgrade to a setup that's gonna look kind of like this, which is basically just a ramped up version of the basic setup. We're running primed pressure point for the damage, we're using blood rush and organ chatter for scaling crit, then we're running primed reach, which is actually very fun with the Guandao, though you don't need it, so if you want even more damage, you can swap it out for a damaging mode instead. Then we're running Berserker Fury for a lot more attack speed, Shocking Touch and Primed Fever Strike for a ton of corrosive damage, and finally Gladiator Rush for even more crit and combo duration. Now this setup has quite a bit more oomph than the first one, and you can easily break into the endgame with it, doing stuff like sorties and even the low-level earlier Steel Path missions. But it is of course not perfect, mainly due to the low status chance, which really holds it back from doing amazing damage. Don't get me wrong though, the damage is not bad by any means. It's actually surprisingly good for a weapon that's this cheap and a weapon that you can get this early on. This is most definitely one of the better investments that you can actually make in the early game. It's just a fantastic weapon that's gonna stay with you for a very long time as long as you keep getting better mods and you keep upgrading the build on it. It's simply fantastic, and the fact that it's relatively cheap makes it even better. The only downside of the base Guandao is that low status chance, which means that it cannot on its own use Boreal's Contempt, a fairly strong polearm specific mod, very effectively. So if you want to use it to squeeze a little bit more damage out of the Guandao, you're gonna need a primer, whether that be your own weapon or a companion. Or what I would actually recommend is to not use Boreal's Contempt on the Guandao and save it for when you get the Guandao Prime, which is just better than the standard Guandao, mainly because it has high enough status to actually run a hybrid setup. So in conclusion, if you're a newer player and you have a clan, go get the Guandao. And if you're a newer player that doesn't have a clan, go get a clan and then get the Guandao. It's just too good to pass up. There are very few weapons that are gonna serve you as well as this one. And that's pretty much it for the video, so I thank you very much for watching as always guys, I hope you have enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.